Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Public Management Academy cohort day number 2, Public Management Academy cohort number 5. I just wanted to welcome everybody on this beautiful Friday morning. I hope that it's sunny outside of your window and that a little later today, after these amazing projects, you get a chance to get out and get some fresh air and take a walk or just enjoy Mother Nature and kind of soak it in, especially after the news yesterday about how the governor's lifting some of these restrictions and that there's a chance that we can start to get back to normal. And I think that it's really exciting for that to happen. And I think it's kind of ironic that our start of our journey was the beginning of all the craziness with the pandemic. And today, with the end of our journey, marks the beginning of all of us getting back our lives and enjoying the normalcy of what it's all about and what it's for. So I think today for me is a day of celebration, celebrating you all, celebrating what the future possibilities are, celebrating what these projects will do, not only today, but in the future, and celebrating you all as far as your amazing careers and your dedication to the public sector and going above and beyond to put together these amazing projects. In case there's any guests that are here for the second day but missed the first day, I highly recommend that you check out the day 1 presentations. They will be available. We will send out a link to those presentations. They'll be available on our website and also, I believe, on YouTube. But we will make sure that the link gets out, and I highly recommend that you check out the 6 projects that were delivered on this past Wednesday. All of them definitely will leave a mark as far as benefiting their communities, and I think also setting the bar as far as best practices in those various categories. So please, if you get a chance, please check them out, and also do me a favor and share them with your colleagues in this community of practice. We are not here to be in a bubble. We are not here to hoard this information. The design of the program is specifically so that we can share these information, create a network of expertise in the system, and share these innovations amongst ourselves to just bring our community to the next level. So please share those. A couple things as far as logistics for today. Each presenter will come up and have about a half-hour window to present, and at the end of each presentation, there will be a question and answer period of time. We ask that any of our guests please drop your question in the Q&A section at the bottom of the Zoom link. There you'll see a Q&A. That will be the primary way to communicate with our presenters. We will ask you to drop your questions in the Q&A, and then myself and Alexander will field those questions and get the feedback from the participants. Secondly, the program is being recorded so that we can share this with our community down the road. So just please note that the presentations will be recorded, including the Q&A part as well. So just a heads up on that. The core members of the cohort, the participants in the cohort, are required to complete a peer evaluation. This is part of the feedback loop for each group, for each participant to receive some commentary on what they did well, maybe some suggestions on future opportunities, things of that sort. And the evaluation, it will be a link that will be listed upon the start of each presentation. We really encourage, obviously, the cohort members to provide feedback for each project, but anyone in attendance today is more than welcome to share their commentary. The more the merrier. So please feel free, if you're a guest, observer, or supporter of one of the panels, please feel free to give commentary on your particular project, but also feel free to share as long as you're joining us today. What's going to happen is that we're going to tabulate those results, and then send that report back to the individual team members, individual projects, so that they can use that to complete their written report, which is the second and final phase of the overall presentation. Just a couple housekeeping items there for our participants. We have makeup sessions available. Cohort number 6 and cohort number 7 are well underway. And if there's any classes that you need to make up, feel free to contact myself or Alexandra, and we'll make sure that you get those closed out. We are expecting to have a graduation in person, hopefully, keep your fingers crossed, but an in-person celebration and a graduation in September. And that will be for all of the cohorts that are participating in the program this year. So it'll be our Public Management Academy and our Leadership Academy. So please be on the lookout for future dates on when we'll come to celebrate. A couple of other things. The Public Management Academy portion, this specific track is also eligible for academic credit. So upon successful completion, which is to participate in all of the workshops, attend all and participate in all the workshop, this oral presentation and the written part, once you complete those components, the participants are eligible to receive academic credit if they'd like to continue their journey. So just please think about that, depending on where you're at. If you're interested in coming back and getting a master's degree, or maybe starting off with your bachelor's, or we actually have some folks that have actually pursued their PhD. So the academic credit is available at all levels. So there is a process that we have in place with our academic department to help transition you from our continuing education unit over to our academic track. But it's all been pre-approved, and it's good to go. So I highly recommend that you pursue that, or at least take a look at it. And the really nice thing about the academic credit portion of things is that I believe there's like a $25 nominal processing fee to process the paperwork, but the academic credit is automatically applied to your transcripts upon successful entrance and acceptance into our college. So you do not have to pay for the actual tuition part, nor the books, nor the time and things like that. So it's literally a dollar for dollar benefit that you would receive by taking advantage of that. And if any of you have participated in our scholarship program for the participating in the program this year, you'd actually technically make money on the deal because the tuition covers the full amount of the program. So I just wanted to throw it out there. We hope that your journey is just starting with us as far as the PMA is concerned, and that you continue to pursue this type of education and engagement, because it I feel a couple things. It helps to build your toolkit, but also helps you to connect and develop more relationships throughout Northeast Ohio. And I think for me anyway, the more tools we have and the more relationships that we have, we're all going to be in a better position. For those of you that have not participated in the second track, which is the Leadership Academy of the OCPM program, if you're interested in continuing your journey, the next Leadership Academy will be offered in November of this year, November of 21. The question, of the $1 million question is if we're going to be in person or online, and it all depends on the hybrid. My anticipation, my hope, and my dreams are that we can bring the program back in person for the Leadership Academy, but we will do that only if it's safe and the coast is clear. So, but the next cohort of Leadership Academy, which is Leadership Academy number 31, will start on November of 2021. So I know there are folks in the cohort that have completed that already. So if you've already completed the Leadership Academy and completed the Public Management Academy, then you are a candidate to earn your credential for the Certified Public Manager. And you will be celebrated, and we'll honor you in that September graduation event. I do hope to see you all in person at some point in time before September. I do want to plan a celebration or some kind of engagement, some kind of networking, some type of happy hour, just so that we can celebrate what you've all done. So if any of you have any kind of ideas or opportunities or suggestions, please pass along to us, because I really want to celebrate everything that you've done throughout this process. And before we get rocking and rolling, I just want to say thank you again to the overall cohort. You all have been through it thick and thin, and I really appreciated the opportunity to get to know you personally, watch you grow as professionals, and just stick through with this entire year and continue to stay focused on not only your personal life, but professional life and dedication to staying with us through the PMA program. So I just want to say thank you before we get started. Now let's rock and roll to our first project. I'm really excited to continue the momentum from day one with our team CSU. This program, our first project for the day is called Play on the Move, and it's our team CSU. I'm really excited to introduce Elena Grigori, Angelia Green, and Tariq Mohammed. And this is Play on the Move. So take it away, folks.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We are Team CSU. My name is Angelia Green. I am in the Access Control and Security Systems Department at Cleveland State University, and I've been with the department 10 years this fall.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Elena Grigor. I've been at CSU almost 12 years. I am in the parking department, and I am their senior manager.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tariq Mohammed, and I'm a Levin Management Fellow. And as of tomorrow, May 15th, I'll be a graduate from the Levin College of Urban Affairs with a Master's in Public Administration.
So we wanted to start your Friday morning off by revisiting childhood. So maybe you were thinking of your own personal memories. Maybe you have children of your own, nieces or nephews, but these are the years where we're developing our motor skills, our personal hobbies and interests, we're socializing, we're connecting with the people in the world around us. And these are all things that most of us inadvertently take for granted. Up to 9% of children have mobility impairments. This is something that I wasn't aware of before getting involved with this program. Luckily, Play on the Move at Cleveland State University, led by Dr. Madeline Wendland, is working to level that playing field. And rather than sifting through a bunch of slides explaining their mission and values, we'll let Dr. Madeline give a little insight on the program.
Hello, my name is Dr. Madeline Wendland, and I'm a professor in the Doctor of Physical Therapy program here at Cleveland State University. I'm part of a program called Play on the Move with Go Baby Go, which is a program that focuses on engaging children in a community environment to optimize play and leisure activities. Play on the Move is an acronym that stands for Participation in Leisure, Allowing Access for Everyone. many times we find that children with different abilities have a difficult time engaging in the community environments. Our program aims to minimize those environmental barriers by allowing adapted equipment and augmented sensory experiences to really allow every child of all ability levels to come and play alongside their typically developing peers. At Cleveland State University, we have a Go Baby Go lab where our Play on the Move programming occurs monthly, in addition to our events that happen out into the community. The adapted equipment that we use with Play on the Move programming includes a multi-directional hands-free harness system, which allows a child to play hands-free within the frame of the harness. This allows the child to be supported using the Just Right challenge to allow for motor repetition, including walking, standing, sitting, or crawling. The modified ride-on car allows for a child to access a battery-powered Power Wheels car in a very easy way where the switch can be placed to whatever point the child has the best access to. This car allows for the child to move in the environment without restriction to allow the child to experience what it's like to move independently. We have served over 100 families with our Play on the Move programming, with typically 10 to 12 families attending each event. The children that come to our programs vary in their abilities, some with significant motor impairments and others that are independently mobile but yet have sensory or social impairments. Our program really aims to cater to children of all ability levels so that they can come and play together in the maximal way possible. So movement is a catalyst for all other areas of development. By using the equipment we have with the Play on the Move program, including the modified ride-on cars and multi-directional hands-free harness systems, we've found children that have different motor abilities that are able to find the Just Right motor challenge, are able to then develop in all other areas of development, including their social, language, and cognitive domains.
So after watching that, I'm sure you can see why our team wanted to partner with Play on the Move and lend them our tools. Our initial project was going to be handling the process of installing a rock climbing wall and a 3D projection system. But after speaking with Madeline, we found that she had a list of issues that were impeding the level of engagement the program was striving for. The biggest issue for the Play on the Move team was their scheduling system, as in they didn't have one. So step one was to implement a new scheduling system and make sure it catered to their needs. This included making sure the incoming GAs could easily learn and manage the system. This action item segued into their need for website enhancements. The website was just like a great Chip and Joanna Gaines fixer-upper, great bones, but it needed some TLC to make sure the functionality and aesthetics were up to date. Go ahead to the next, T. And of course, feedback. We don't know the impact we're having or what could be improved without the voice of those using the process or the products that we've implemented. So after getting in touch with IS&T and establishing that Microsoft Bookings was the system we were going to use, our first steps here were to import all of the current customers, both the children and their parents. Then we added all the current program staff into the system to be able to access the Play on the Move bookings page, and configured the confirmation and reminder emails, which are both vital to appointment completion. Then we started tweaking further and customizing so that there were specific appointment options such as initial consultation or equipment loan session. Elena had a great idea to create a CSU-specific email for all the bookings to be managed by, and this will keep the system organized and auditable via one email address linked to a program opposed to an individual. And we also embedded the surveys for continuous feedback and created a user reference guide for incoming personnel to navigate the bookings. So right here, you can see the bookings page and what it looks like to a customer. They can choose the service that they want, the date and time, and then a drop down will come down to select the staff member if they're available. This is the main bookings page and what it looks like for staff. So they can come and easily view and manage their booked appointments, their settings. Madeline's able to add and remove staff members and change their services that they provide. And this is a little snippet of the email confirmation and the reminder email. At the bottom of the left screen, you could see the embedded survey. With that, I'll pass it on over to T.
All right, so next is our website redesign, which we also saw as an opportunity to support Play on the Move. Websites can serve as a first impression to an organization, especially in our new normal. How we approached this was through setting key objectives. When considering families, volunteers, and newcomers helped influence decision-making, which led to the process of reducing inactive links, consolidating pages, reduce heading and overall text in order to enhance the visitor overall experience. So next, what I'm excited to walk you through are going to be a series of updates on the website before and after, which each slide will be listed with before and after, and I will walk you through the specific updates on each slide. So I'll pause it here. So as you can see here, there are multiple headings and there's enlarged imagery in the before of the revamping the website. And there's also an inactive link as well. So next is the after of this homepage. So here you can see there's less headings. We were able to add a slideshow for more imagery, add a vibrant background. Still maintaining the mission and vision with the university logo added. And as mentioned by Angelia, Elena was able to create the website email, which is listed there. And we also updated social media links so that most likely volunteers from the university can follow on social media. And then lastly, making sure that there is a direct link to the booking that was displayed earlier so that the website can serve as a hub for info and access. So next, we're going to also go to another before of just aesthetics with the text. So this is just one of the examples we saw. And here was just more of a concern for engagement with visitors to the website. So what we were able to do next was to kind of create a simplified directory so that people can access immediately what they may be looking for without having to do so much scrolling. Next is our volunteer audience. As you can see, there is a link to sign up, but we want to make sure this experience for them was very informational. So afterward, we made sure that there were opportunities listed and testimonials so that volunteers could learn more in one place. And there's also a gallery page that they can visit to see past projects. And we also wanted to make a distinction between supports such as car build, harness support, and field trip supervision. Next is a donation page, which is also a part of the website. I took a fundraising and revenue course this semester, which allowed me to put myself in the shoes of a donor. And as you can see here, there are many options listed to donate to many of the Cleveland State University Foundation organizations, which can be pretty discouraging if you're just looking for a quick way to provide funds. So we saw this as an opportunity to be changed. With contacting the CSU Foundation, we were able to create a demo landing page, which also shows where your funds will go for the amount given to hopefully keep up motivation and simplify the process. And in addition, we also have the nice skyline footer at the bottom. So lastly, we have a fundraiser where you too can get involved. Right now, we're $150 away from our goal, and a donation as small as $5 can help make an impact. So getting towards the end of the presentation, we will drop a link to this fundraiser on the crowdfunding CSU page. Thank you. Now I'll pass it over to Elena.
you, Kate. We we know that we needed to develop surveys so that we could see if the products that we put out there were actually providing a benefit to Go Baby Go. We used Qualtrics to create surveys. We created 2 of them, a client satisfaction experience as well as an employee satisfaction experience. We wanted to get feedback to make sure that our process improvements were working and anything that we needed to change, we would be aware of. So the client survey has 11 questions that are directed towards the use, their views on receiving their confirmation emails, their appointments if they feel better prepared because they're getting additional information, and any other additional comments that they may want to share with us. The surveys are, as Angelina had said earlier, embedded into the client confirmation email so that they're quickly able to access those. However, we have not launched that yet. The survey is not active. We are planning to do that at a later date. We are working with Dr. Wendland to plan a bookings and visit our new website launch date, perhaps in mid-June or July, so that everybody can see the changes that we've presented here today. The employee survey has 13 questions on it, and these were more focused on the booking system so that we could see if there is an actual improvement between just using paper format to keep track of appointments. We wanted to know if they felt the system was easy to use, if they had problems editing, if they could change information, if it was easier to contact their client, because as Angelia had pointed out, all of their information's in there, the emails are in there, so they could just point and click and send information as needed. But we also asked them what they liked. We want to know what parts of the system were easy for them to use, as well as what improvements they might want to recommend that we could take a look at and provide further improvements for Go Baby Go. The employee survey is active, and we have added, for both surveys, we added the feature of making the surveys accessible with a cell phone. So the links are there. So a person doesn't have to worry about going to their computer. They can just access it quickly on their cell phone. There's a progress bar. It's very simple to use. It's very quick. And we hope that they're going to like this a lot. Next, please. So the employer surveys that we received back, employee surveys, were just from a small sample of 4 staff members. With COVID, there's not as much going on as in a normal academic year. However, we were able to get what we feel is some valuable information. So we just looked at a couple of questions. So the next slides will just highlight a few of those questions. And we asked the employees if they felt that the scheduling system that we implemented had improved the process, and out of the 4, 50% strongly agreed, and again 50% agreed. So we think we were on the right track. Our next question, we looked at if appointments they felt were easy to edit in the new system. That could be editing by adding, changing, canceling. We had 50% say that they strongly agreed that this was the case for them. One person wasn't sure. They neither agreed or disagreed. And again, that other person was not sure. So the more they get to use the system, the more familiar they'll be with it. And we hope that perhaps we can get additional feedback from those. Our next question we looked at was if the employees felt that the clients were better prepared when they came to their appointments because the information that they would receive in their confirmation email, giving them directions, reminder times, as well as if they need to bring anything additional, a consent form or something of that nature. Out of the 4 respondents, 75% strongly agreed that they did feel their clients were better prepared, and one person was unsure of whether this was an improvement, but I think with 75%, we're in the right direction there. So our last question that I wanted to share today is the question where we asked the employees what they really liked about the new system. We wanted to gauge their use of it, and we got some good comments. They liked having the automated email reminders and having everything located in one organized place. One person said that they felt the system is very simple and easy to use, both for families participating, even though it hasn't gone live yet for them, but it will, as well as the staff currently using it. And they also liked everything in one place. They feel that things are easy to locate and coordinate. A third person said that it was simple, straightforward, and appears very effective. And lastly, the person commented of having all of their things integrated through OneDrive, so it's easily accessible for everyone. Team CSU is still planning to offer continued support to Plan the Move, Go Baby Go. And we're going to do this by, number one, our surveys are certainly going to remain live so that we can get continuous feedback and hopefully look for other things that we may have missed or they feel they might need to be tweaked. The surveys can also be revised, so if they feel that we need to perhaps slide a different question in or change it, we can do that as well. Secondly, we're looking to excuse me, assist with alterations, technical support, and any additional process improvements that we can provide throughout the remaining summer. Third, we're looking to assist PALM in research so that they can acquire a nonprofit status and seek that new level of support and perhaps get new funding and grants and so forth for their programs, which are all, as you can see from the beginning videos, very important to the children and their mobility. And lastly, we want to help PALM. Still, we want to help them reduce their operational costs by identifying a free website platform. So these are all 4 things that we feel are still important that we just didn't have enough time to get finished or through. So that is the reason that we've offered our support as a team through the end of summer. Next. On behalf of our Team CSU group, I want to say thank you, and we'll turn it over to Alexandra.
Well, I just wanted to thank Team CSU for everything that they put together for this project. A couple notes that I want to make everybody aware that Team CSU, this is a continuation of a project that actually was started through our Leadership Academy. One of the other participants in PMA who fortunately had to withdraw from the program brought this project to light as an opportunity, and Elena and Angelia just took it on full force and did a wonderful job with putting this together. I also want to shout out Tariq Mohammed. He is our first inaugural, I guess is the right word, local government fellow. And I just think Tariq did a wonderful job coming in as a student, coming in as additional resource and expertise to assist the core team with everything that they put together as far as the website. And you all 3 have done an amazing job. Just unbelievable, taking it over the top. I know that Dr. Wendland is in the house, or she was anyway, in the house. And I just wanted to say to her that we are so honored to be able to partner with you, not only as a program, but continue to assist in these projects, because I believe your work is so valuable for those, your clients and their families that are part of your community. The work that you're doing is just amazing, and we're so proud to be part of Team CSU. And when I was working with the team about what they were working on, I labeled this the accessibility to mobility. And to make it simple, to make it easy, to make it right there and very user friendly, I think is an amazing contribution. So I just want to say thank you to everybody involved in this process. I'm going to pass it over to Alexandra if there's any questions in the house.
All right, so far we just have one comment, so feel free to send your questions in the Q&A function and we'll make sure to ask the team. So far we just have one comment from Kathleen. What a wonderful project, great presentation. I agree. All right, feel free to keep sending in your questions. And I also just want to say too, it's been absolutely wonderful working with Tariq over especially the last year and the last semester. So we oversee a fellowship program at Cleveland State, and we were really excited to launch this new element this semester, you know, trying to bring together the Public Management Academy and then also the academic side of the shop. And Tariq has been absolutely wonderful with being part of this pilot program. He's really gone above and beyond, and we are so, we're excited to see what he's going to accomplish in the future. So I just want to say it's been an honor to work with Tariq. Okay, a few more comments, all positive. Tim says, great project, well done. Shadi, who is Tariq's mentor in the mentoring program, says, great job, Tariq and team. I am very proud to have been your mentor. And my Linda says, outstanding presentation, very inspiring. So we'll hang out for a few more seconds to see if anyone else has any questions.
I just wanted to also thank Alexandra for working with Tariq and putting together our local fellows, local government fellowship. This is actually her OCPM project, was to create this fellowship program with the idea that we create a pipeline for our students to get the practical experience and network with peers and work with, I'm not saying not peers, but work with experts and practitioners in the field. And I'm just really ecstatic of how the first placement went, and looking to create that pipeline for future leaders to be placed out in the community. So I also wanted to just a quick shout out to back to Elena and Angelia for your leadership to embrace Tariq and bring him in and welcome him to your team, and to just lead and guide and work along with him through this process. The team dynamics and the whole process, I think, went really smooth, and I think it's a testament to the quality of people that you are. So I just want to say thank you for all that as well. So I think there's another question.
Yeah, so we have two questions that just came in. In normal years and times, how many clients utilize the program, and will the new system handle the growth?
I can take that one. So yeah, I've imported, it was about 80 different clients. So I would say 80 normally use the program, and the system will absolutely hold that load. Thanks for the question.
Excellent. All right. Christopher asks, can you send a link out for play donations? Thank you.
Alexandra, I believe I dropped it in the chat. I'm not sure if everyone sees it. It should say csu.scalefunder.com. But if not, we can, I'm sure, email it.
Yeah,
Thank
so it looks like, so it looks like Tariq did drop it in the chat. Maybe drop it one more time just to make sure that folks see it. And if for some reason you can't see it on your end, feel free to email a member of our team, and we'll make sure that that link goes out to everyone who would like it. Okay, so one more comment. Terry says, I can see the extensive work put into this project. Good job. All right, so any other questions going once? Oh, here we go. Dr. Wendland, I greatly appreciate all the efforts of Team CSU and the continued support of the Leadership Academy and Public Management Academy. Thanks for helping keep kiddos moving.
Thank you so much. Well, if there's any other questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A section, or any comments, please feel free to add them to the peer evaluation form. Please, for the core cohort, we required or we asked for your comments. If there's any guests in the room that would like to add anything, please feel free to do that so that they can just incorporate that into the written report. While we're wrapping up this project, I just wanted to say that we do have some guests in the room, and I want to give a quick shout out to Erica Walsh, who is back with us today. As I stated on Wednesday, Erica is part of the Ohio Certified Public Manager Advisory Board, and Erica was kind enough to dedicate some time both on Wednesday and today. So I just wanted to say hello to Erica. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the projects. We are totally on track. Thank you very much on team number one. You did a wonderful job. We have scheduled a 10-minute break. So we will continue with the program at 9:40, and the next project presentation will be delivered by Mr. Jamie Mason from the Rocky River Public Library. So please take a minute to grab a cup of coffee or check some emails or stretch your legs, and we will be back online at 9:40 p.m. with Jamie Mason from the Rocky River Public Library. Thanks, everyone. See you soon. Well, welcome back, everyone. Thanks for a great start, Team CSU and Play on the Move. Really excited about how the day started and continue that momentum from day one. We're going to be moving on to our second presenter of the day, and I'm thrilled to introduce Jamie Mason from the Rocky River Public Library. He is the current director there, and just want to say thanks, Jamie, for your dedication to the program, as you've already completed the Leadership Academy, and you've used a tool from the Leadership Academy to help you with facilitating your project that's part of the program today. So I'd like to pass the mic over to Jamie, and he's going to have a presentation called How Not to Do Crisis Communications on the Fly. So without further ado, Mr. Jamie Mason. Hey, Jamie, we can't hear you right now. Are you on a mute? Have you started yet?
Okay, is that better?
Yep, I can hear you. Yep.
All right, technical difficulties. And you can see my slide?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. Sorry. Thanks, Rob. My name is Jamie Mason, and I have been director of Rocky River Public Library since October of 2014. I was deputy director for 5 years before that. I have a master's degree in library and information science, but it was not until I graduated from the CSU Leadership Academy in 2020 and attended the CSU Public Management Academy that I really dealt with public relations and crisis communications. So up until this year, my communications with the media had all been positive. I've been interviewed by many local reporters for our local papers, Westlife, West Shore Sun, and a few times for Cleveland.com. These were mainly human interest stories. answering questions, or providing written statements about new programs or services that the library was doing. No confrontations, no controversies. Our policy in the library has long been that staff are to direct all media inquiries to me, the director. All press releases were vetted by me first before sending to news sources, and this was basically our crisis communications plan. Until
every year at Rocky River Public Library, they lay out the summer's big events.
we did have some community comments
Is
about
a sound
asking
plan?
for diverse and inclusive programming.
So they did, but not everyone
I can
is
hear
on
it.
board. This June, Sassy Sasha will be performing virtually at Drag Queen Story Hour.
What's great about storytelling and story time is the theatrical aspect of it, drawing kids into stories through over-the-top facial cues or exaggerated costuming.
It's an event many are excited for, some heading to Facebook, commending the library for their diverse experience choice. But not everyone is excited to log in for this story hour, some taking to social media to share their concerns. One major question asked, when our kids ask what's a drag queen, what do we tell them?
Addition to just picture books that are fun about identity and individuality, we also have some nonfiction and educational resources on talking to your children about identity.
But the comments didn't stop there.
We expected that there might be a little pushback.
They began to get personal as many questioned if drag queens were appropriate to show children. People wrote, Drag Queen Story Hour is not innocent and it doesn't have good intentions, while others said these messages were disheartening and unwelcoming. I spoke on the phone to many for and against Story Hour, but most of them refused to air their concerns on camera.
We don't necessarily have to agree, but we should be nice and understanding.
Registration for the event opens in just a month, and only time will tell if this story hour has a happy ending. In Rocky River,
So as Dr. Madden pointed out in her talk on customer relations, for an organization to succeed, each member of the team must understand and actively work towards a shared set of values, vision, mission, and goals. We went through a strategic planning process in 2019. We held a half-day session with activities for community stakeholders, as well as provided an online survey to our patrons. Through this process, we established our mission to cultivate meaningful connections by providing information, inspiration, and a welcoming place for contemplation and community. Our vision, leading and innovating through community-based services. Tagline, to discover, connect, engage. And one of the goals of the strategic plan was to establish a culture of inclusivity and diversity. This was backed up by several comments from patrons that included asking for diverse materials, diverse programs, and specifically programs supporting LGBTQIA+. Our internal discussions on the program began in 2019. A member of our staff in the children's department had seen this type of program at other libraries and had attended several programs in the local area at other venues. I initially postponed the idea. I knew that when another local library had the program a few years back, they had received negative feedback on it from some. But with diversity and inclusion becoming a hot topic in the state and the nation, as well as it being one of our strategic plan goals, we decided to move forward with it. The program was discussed and approved with full support by the Board of Trustees in October of 2020. We knew the Drag Queen Storytime program would be controversial for some. We were not expecting as much pushback as we had received. I certainly wasn't expecting for the story to be picked up by any of our major news networks. We had a statement prepared and came up with some questions we thought patrons might ask, and had answers prepared for our librarians or any staff to answer if patrons called or came in. Drag Queen Storytime is an enthusiastic presentation of stories with themes of self-expression, acceptance, inclusion, and individuality. In line with the strategic plan, Rocky River Public Library proudly offers a range of programming that reflects the diverse experiences and interests of the community. Our RPL seeks to be a welcome and inclusive community space for all. So we had received mixed feedback from patrons and community members. Most was positive, but some were negative and very hateful. Most of the hateful comments were on the community of Rocky River Facebook page, and that is where Channel 19 News picked up the story. A local reporter called wanting to do an interview. I knew from crisis communication training we had with Hennis Communications that no comment was not an option. I also knew that just issuing our statement was not as good an option as telling our story. So I agreed to the interview. It was a Zoom interview scheduled for the next morning. And so our team consisting of Children's Services Manager, Visual Communications Manager, Deputy Director, and I quickly met to discuss our strategy. Our Children's Services Manager and I would be on camera. I'm the official spokesperson for the library, but she had previous media experience and knew more intimate details about the program and our message that we wanted to get out. We created our talking points and reviewed our possible questions that we had already prepared, but the answers to those questions were too long. So some tips for on-camera interviews: be brief, 3 to 5 seconds max per answer, be calm, exhale before answering the question. And this was a known sticking point for me. I usually tend to try to answer questions right away, and I had to keep reminding myself to exhale or count to 3 before answering. Enunciate and be succinct. This will help you slow down and make sure your message is heard the way you want it to be heard. Pauses are okay. They're actually preferred. The dead space may help move the interviewer along. There was an instance in the interview when she asked a question and I answered it very briefly. I was almost ready to say more, but caught myself, and she continued with her next question. So they don't necessarily like the dead spaces any more than we do. Only answer the question that is asked. Do not elaborate, and refer back to your talking points as often as possible. We knew going into the interview that I would do most of the talking and refer to the Children's Services Manager to answer when it was appropriate so that we are not talking over each other. The interview lasted for about 25 minutes. The actual story was condensed and clipped into the 2.5 minutes that you saw. And some things not to do: don't wing it. Rehearsal is key. Speak your talking points out loud in front of a mirror or find a friend and rehearse with them. Try to anticipate as many questions and what your answers might be if they're asked. Don't lose your patience. You can go off topic or lose your message if you're angry. Don't read your answers. It takes away from your message or appears insincere. And don't lie. Only speak the truth and only the actual facts that you know. You can always say, I don't know, or respond with, I will get back to you with further details. And we did, there were a couple times in the interview where we did that and provided her with information later. And so we haven't had ours yet. We're still in the middle of this, but I plan to have a wrap-up meeting after this is over, and it's probably suggested you should have one anytime these type of events occur. Discuss what worked, what didn't work, what you might do different next time. Congratulate your team on a job well done. Thank everyone for their help and assistance, and think of anything you could have done or said to prevent a crisis in the future. I also plan to create a form for all media inquiries to make sure we know who we are talking to and what topic they want to write about or report on. If possible, we'll also ask them to elaborate on any questions they may have. This allows us to be as prepared as possible. And that concludes my presentation.
Thanks, Jamie. I just want to have a couple of comments before anybody wants to add any questions to the Q&A. First of all, I want to say congratulations on a nice job. I can't imagine what it would feel like to put together a program to address the community needs, but know that there might be some pushback by some of those folks in the community. So I want to thank you for one, being aggressive to take the lead on expanding the programs and being welcoming to the entire community in your area. I know that that potentially could bring stuff. And two, I'm excited about the fact that you're using the tools. The PMA program is about tools, and you use the strategic plan and the crisis communications component to build something to help your team move forward. So I'll say congratulations on that. I guess moving forward, do you have any plans for this same type of programming that brought this attention to you? And if so, is there a planning process or something with your team to be prepared in case or when these inquiries come in?
Yes. So the part of the process and part of what will be in the written portion of this is to actually have a more elaborate and better crisis communications plan. Like I said, it up till this point, it was just like, okay, I've had the most amount of training. I know what our message is. So most of those inquiries and stuff should come to me. But it takes the whole team. That strategy meeting that we had, the conversations, and the team had met prior to even this being put out, knowing that there would be that pushback. But I didn't necessarily expect it to be this much. So the other part of your question, we certainly plan to do diverse and inclusive programming. We're also going to be doing various trainings with our staff because we encounter all members of the public on a daily basis. We have all types of these acronyms at our institution already. So we just have to be able to get along with everybody, make everybody comfortable. Unfortunately, so as we move forward, we definitely will do stuff. I don't know if we'll specifically do this. We really have to wait until the program is presented, which it's actually on June 22nd. It is a Zoom program and registration only. But as we do all of our programs, we already have processes in place. So we evaluate our programs based on attendance. We evaluate our programs based on the feedback that we get from those people that attended. And generally, the only way that we would cancel a program would be if nobody signed up or there was no interest or very limited signups, based on, so that's kind of the feedback we already use with our programs. And we can't treat this any different than any other program that we do.
That's a good point. Have you any feedback, and maybe you don't want to talk about it online here, but any feedback from the administration or anybody else in the community about what type of things you're doing and how this went off, and as far as the media part, or what you could do better moving forward? Has there been anything, conversations about that, or support from the administration of the type of programs you're delivering?
So I answer to a 7-member board of trustees, which are all community members. They serve 7-year terms on the board. And they, as I said, they were in full support of the program from the beginning, and they are in full support of the strategic plan as a whole, as well as the various initiatives that we're doing. So Channel 5 actually did a story after Channel 19. So I was on Channel 19 at noon, and then that same day, or noon and 4 on Channel 19, and then we were on the 11 o'clock of Channel 5. So the stories, I've received positive feedback about the actual stories, and I think that they painted them in a good light. It could have been vastly different, and I think one of the things that I wanted to try to get across too is I never thought I'd be on the news. I certainly never thought I'd be on the news for a library program. So any one of us, there could be something that happens at any one of our public and local institutions that we could be featured on. So that was all positive. I have full support of the board still. We do have support within the community. It's not all bad, but there is a group that are actively against it as well, as you might imagine. So it's been a rough month, honestly. And as they say, it takes what, 5 positive comments to outweigh 1 negative. I think we're probably at that ratio, but it's still very hard. And it's really hard for the library, who, when we're trying to be welcoming to everybody, to really have any negative feedback is really hard. But yeah, it's just, we go through our evaluation process and then we move on.
The one thing about the actual not commercial, but the story on television, I thought was really intriguing for me, which is I applaud you for working on this type of program, is your colleague there, her point about if it's expanding or challenging folks' norms or their horizons, about the fact that they could explore other resources in the library to learn more about these type of things, and to look and see what else is out there, so that you can make informed decisions or potentially review your mindset as you come in. Was that part of the design when you were looking at this kind of stuff? Say, hey, well, maybe this can potentially open people's horizons and maybe explore other resources within the library. So if they have questions on a variety of different things that they never thought about, maybe they can use our books, our resources, things like that, to learn more and maybe change their opinion or alter their opinion as they move forward. Was that part of the plan, or is that just happened organically as part of this process?
I think it's more organic. We really aren't trying to, there's been an accusation where we're trying to push this agenda, and it's really not an agenda that we're trying to push. It was evaluating the comments that came in, evaluating what people were asking for. And yes, this is a little, it's a little controversial. It might be pushing the envelope a little bit, but based on the conversations that we've had, it really shows that these discussions are needed. So the intention of the program was really for those that immediately saw it and said, I'd like to be a part of that. It really wasn't necessarily for somebody who was completely against it. Maybe somebody was on the fence and said, well, I'd like to check it out. So it wasn't pushing an agenda, but it's really just that whole thing of being comfortable with things that are different, or that are different from you, and not necessarily abiding by the stereotypes. Calling it drag, someone said, well, why do you call it drag queen story time? Or why do you have a drag queen doing it? And it's still a theatrical performance, but it's also it's still breaking that stereotype that those are people too, and they can do this type of story, and it's not harmful in any way. They're reading a story just the same as anyone else might read that story. So I think it was more organic.
Well, I love that. If it was organic, it still came through. I thought that was really interesting and innovative way to do that. Alexandra, there's some questions or comments in the Q&A box.
Yeah, so mostly comments so far, and then one question. So I'll go through the comments first. Danny says, great job, Jamie. Terry says, I once took a media relations course where I learned to get out in front of the story instead of letting the media lead the questions that will take you down the rabbit hole. I applaud you for setting parameters for dealing with this issue. Smart. Kathleen says, good reminder that any of us can be thrown into the media spotlight. I also recall the mantra from Leadership Academy, tell your story and tell it first. And then a question from Elena. Did you consider using a consulting firm to help you work through the damage control?
So I did actually consider it, knowing that, so from Leadership Academy, we did actually have the Hennis Communications Group. They actually did the presentation for Leadership Academy. At one point I thought about reaching out. I don't think that we're out of control at this point. So I'm still weighing the cost benefit analysis of doing that. We may still touch base with them from that point, but for the most part, I think that we're doing okay.
So it looks like Brent has a comment. Congrats on standing firm and adhering to the principles of inclusion, not capitulating to the small yet vocal minority of bullies. I encourage you to continue programming so-called controversial topics to eliminate and normalize issues. By the way, my kids love story hours of all stripes. Thanks for sharing that, Brent. Oh, and looks like Brent has a follow-up question. Does Rocky River Public Libraries have a decision support matrix to use in your absence?
So I assume that means if they can't get a hold of me, is that the?
Yes.
That's how I interpret it.
Yes.
Yeah.
He says yes.
No, we don't necessarily. We don't have anything official, and that's one of the things again that is needed, Brent. So that's a good point. But basically, I'm really, there aren't very many instances where I'm not available, but there could be. We have the deputy director who is him and I talk quite a bit about various things. And he's actually done more work on this than I have because it's on the programming side. So he handles most of the public service type things. So he's been very close with this. Charlotte actually answers to him. So Charlotte is our children's manager that was on the video. But that is a good point, Brent.
Okay, a few more comments from my Linda. Great job handling the issue. I'm part of the Rocky River community and saw the comments and naysayers. I was surprised to see such negative response given this time and age. Inclusivity and diversity is the way to go. And then Elena says, I agree with Brent's comment. Kudos to you and Rocky River Library. Good job. All right, so we'll hang around for a few more seconds. If anyone has any additional questions or comments.
Well, I'll wait if there's any more Q&A, but Jamie, I wanted to let you know that I spoke to the presenter for our crisis communications. I spoke to Bruce Hennis and told him that what the background of your project and how you were using his content, his toolkit to help you with it, and he was ecstatic. I think that sometimes he doesn't know or doesn't hear exactly how it's being implemented over the times. And so when he heard that you and your team were using his roadmap for success, he was really pumped up. And he is asking me to follow up with him to see how it went as far as your project and what you're working forward. And so I think that we'd love to stay in contact. And if there's anything that he could do or I can do to help make that connectivity there in the future, let me know. Again, the whole program is designed to create a toolkit and make those connections with all our resources, both internally here and our partners throughout the community. So feel free to call as we're all part of that family. So I'm not sure if there's any more Q&A, but I want to say thank you, Jamie. Great job. And I also want to say, you're pretty cool under pressure there. So I'm not sure if you had any butterflies in the stomach when you were being interviewed, but pretty cool character. And I just want to say congratulations for taking on this potentially, controversial issue, embracing diversity, bringing that to your community, and staying on top of it to make sure that you and your team are ready to rock and roll. So congrats for today and good luck in the future as you continue to explore these issues. So, and let us know how we can help you moving forward. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. And yeah, I definitely was not comfortable. But like I said, it's just that practice and just trying to think of, okay, if they do this, and how do I redirect if there's something that we don't want to get into, and the pauses that break in silence. And then, like I said, so I'd done the Channel 19 so when Channel 5 called, I had kind of already broken that ice. And so I agreed to do that same day for that reporter. And, you know, I think the Channel 5 story was more positive actually, even than the Channel 19 one. So I was definitely much more relaxed on the second one.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, practice makes perfect.
Yeah,
So-
unfortunately.
Well, congratulations. If there's any other comments, please complete the peer evaluation form. And if there's no more comments right now, I'll say thanks to Jamie. Please complete the evaluation form. If there's any other comments, commentary or feedback, please put it in the peer evaluation form. We'll get that to him as soon as the presentation is over. I'd like to bring up our next presenter and our next presentation. Our presentation will be from Miss Danielle Clark, and Danielle is currently over at the Alcohol, Drug, and Mental Health Services Board of Cuyahoga County. When Danielle started her journey with us for PMA this year, she was an employee over at the Cuyahoga County, but little transition for her, and so her project started out with a strategic plan for the budget process, and she has completed that project, and I think created a great tool and system for both the Adams Board and her friends over at the Cuyahoga County. So Danielle Clark's presentation, her title is called "The Transparency in Budget," where that makes sense. So I'd like to welcome and introduce Ms. Danielle Clark from the Alcohol, Drug, and Mental Health Services Board. Danielle, take it away.
Good morning. My name is Danielle Clark, and for today's Public Management Academy Cohort 5, I will be presenting Transparency in Budget, where the dollars make sense. Don't tell me what you value, show me your budget, and I'll tell you what you value. President Joe Biden. This quote from our now president was during the Obama-Biden 2008 presidential campaign. Today, this quote still remains the same. Especially in government, the budget will truly tell you what is most important to those in charge. This thought and the current state of county budgeting were the inspiration for my project. I'm a firm believer that the budget and the budget office are the foundation of county government. In Cuyahoga County, the Office of Budget and Management, mostly known as OBM, is responsible for the development of the county's biennial budget, which is every 2 years. This budget is presented by the county executive and approved by county council each odd calendar year. Throughout this presentation, I will discuss this process and how it can be improved to be truly transparent, as every government strives to be. During today's presentation, I will cover the project scope, our stakeholders, the current state of the budget process, my analysis of this current state, my analysis tool, the potential solutions to improve this process, the future state of the process, some transitions, project phases, and then I'll summarize the project at the end. The scope of this project was to review the current biennial budget process within the county's Office of Budget and Management. My goal for this project is to create a more transparent and streamlined budget process, allowing for more collaboration between the Office of Budget and Management, OBM, and all county agencies. The most obvious stakeholder in this whole process is OBM, being as though the budget is developed by current OBM staff. However, one of the most important stakeholders are every county agency and the citizens of Cuyahoga County. Every agency and every citizen will be directly impacted by the budget developed within OBM. The budget dictates how much funding is allocated for children, roads, senior citizens, and employees of the county. the budget directly impacts the health and well-being of every county resident. And we can't forget our two very important stakeholders, the county executive, who guides and supports OBM in the development of the budget, and the county council, who ultimately passes the budget legislation, allowing for the appropriation or allocation of funds across county agencies. So what's the current state of this process? The current process lacks buy-in and trust from OBM employees and county agencies. Previous satisfaction surveys done from the Office of OBM have shown that many county agencies do not feel included in the budget process or feel that the process gives them enough time to collaborate internally within their departments to make sound recommendations for needed funding. This creates a distrust in the process when county agencies do not feel included. Current OBM staff don't have a voice in the budget process. Current staff were surveyed through this project about the process, and 100% of the staff who responded believed that the biennial budget process needs improvement. 44% of them believed that the process was not so efficient. Another 44% believed that the process was somewhat sufficient, with the remaining 12% either not answering or believing that the process was fine the way it was. There has also been some transition in various fiscal leadership, beginning at the end of 2019 going into 2020, which put the department in limbo as to what would be the priority and process in regards to the budget process and what the role of the staff would be. For the 6.5 years I have been in OBM, I have participated in 3 biennial budget cycles with varying processes. While the foundation of the process and how it moves throughout the county's legislative bodies has remained the same, the communication and collaboration with county agencies and OBM has varied year after year. There has been no constant process during this time. The lack of communication from varying leadership roles offers room for improvement currently. This includes communication to agencies in regards to timelines and expectations, as well as internal OBM staff communication on deadlines, expectations of their roles within this process. All these things combined creates a decreased morale across the board. Internal OBM staff are unsure of their role or importance in the process. County agencies are left feeling unheard about the needs of the communities they serve being met with the funds they've been allocated. So now that some of the issues in the process have been identified, it's time to take action. I found that the lack of routine process or plan would be the presumed root cause of this problem. So why is there no process? Over the last 1.5 years, there have been major leadership changes in the fiscal office that have caused some processes to become stagnant or almost non-existent, as previously known. Without the budget process being given the priority and attention needed, it's fallen to the wayside. The lack of budget process also creates a lack of transparency, and this often aids in the resistance to change that many employees feel when a new process is started. The county has already realized this resistance with the implementation of our new Enterprise Resource Project, ERP Lawson, and Sherpa, the new budgeting software. These new systems have also aided in the lack of process, as the county is still changing its current process to fit into its new systems. To date, no new biennial budget has been developed utilizing the new ERP system, and the uneasy and unknowing of how the system functions has added to the resistance many feel to change. A flow chart of our current process will allow each step to be clear and easily identified. It will show the step-by-step process and identify gaps and obstacles in the current process. This tool will be a great use for the internal OBM staff as the process continually improves. Here I've combined the Plan, Do, Act PDCA cycle into an A3 analysis. PDCA and A3 analysis tools providing me a clear picture of what the current state of the process is and how it can be improved and checked over time. Like any cycle, This process and analysis is never ending. The budget process is done every other year. Thus, there will always be an opening to check the process and improve or act and modify as needed. As you can see, there is still some work to be done on the do, check, act portion of the cycle, which I will discuss more in the next few slides. Taking the plan portion of my analysis as a foundation, I've developed 4 potential solutions to help improve the budget process. A strategic budget plan. The budget planning process must align with the goals of the county. Making this process more transparent with increased communication allows all stakeholders to understand the development and strategy utilized throughout the budget process. I believe each year, OBM and all directors and fiscal staff within county agencies should have a calendar that outlines important dates and deadlines related to the budget process. This calendar should be developed internally in OBM and distributed to the county agencies at the beginning of each year. Feedback from the executive and county council on the calendar will be needed to ensure that deadlines line up with the executive having time to review the budget in a timely manner and giving county council enough time to make sure that the budget is passed at the appropriate committee meeting in December. How do we test that? A biannual survey, 2 times a year. OBM should survey their fiscal contacts within every county agency to ensure that they are satisfied with the most recent budget at that time and that their needs are being met. This will increase the collaboration and communication between OBM and each county agency. It creates a sense of trust and openness from the agencies when they feel as though their voices are being heard. How can we review this process? Using the results from the survey, the routine review can be done. The recommendations and results of the survey can help OBM pinpoint pain points or other issues within the budget process. However, we know that this will create a routine review, which is an environment of constant improvements, which only strengthens the process, the department, and the county as a whole. So taking those potential solutions developed and looking into the future of the process, there are 3 main things, not the only ones, but 3 when looking to improve the current state of the budget process at the county. The budget itself, making sure the process is strategic, transparent, and well communicated. There are various options to make this budget process more strategic. There's zero-based budgeting. This process would hold each county agency accountable for every dollar allocated to them, as they would have to account for each dollar included in their budget. Building the budget from zero can also show where there is waste or excess funding that could be allocated to other programs or new programs that can have greater impact in the community. Another option is to increase the strategic aspect of the process by looking at performance-based budgeting, or outcomes, results, or priority-based budgeting. Budgeting based on programmatic goals can gear funding towards programs that have higher impacts within the community. Oftentimes, this type of budget is data and metric driven because all the funding is based on how well programs are performing. Transparency and communication go hand in hand. By communicating each step of the budget process clearly to all stakeholders, you create a sense of transparency and openness among all parties. Documenting every change to the budget with clear communication when this happens gives more transparency. The goal would be to implement these things in 2021 for the biennial budget cycle of 2022 through 2023. What's the impact of this? The impact of a strategic, transparent, and communicated process is increased morale, a sense of collaborative effort, and a better budget. Employees internally in OBM will feel a sense of pride and importance in their work because the process will become clear and transparent. A more collaborative effort with county agencies gives them a voice in the process and a sense that they actually know why and how the budget was developed with a clear understanding of how those funds will be allocated. This creates a better budget because each stakeholder has a voice in the process. Agencies can advocate for the communities they serve. OBM has the responsibility for the process, and the executive and council will present and pass this budget legislation. The easiest way to measure the satisfaction of an improved process will be to survey internal OBM staff and all county agencies. My initial goal would be to have a 75% satisfaction with the improved process overall. This survey would be given after the budget process has been concluded and passed by council. There should be no additional cost to the county to implement this process, as currently the responsibility of the budget is already in the budget office, and it would not require any additional staff. The hopes would be to see a savings in time and effort within the internal staff by streamlining and improving the process. The development of this project, in which I began to looking to improve OBM's budget process, started in 2020, just as the pandemic began to change the world as we know it. While the pandemic forced many of us out of the office into Zoom meetings, team calls, and virtual school, it forced me to take a look at life and the trajectory of my career. While not going into detail, I'm sure many of my classmates can tell you the countless stories and examples I gave of the challenges faced in my current department. This led to my transition from the Office of Budget and Management as a Budget and Planning Administrator to the Director of Finance at the Alcohol, Drug Addiction, and Mental Health Services Board, known as ADAMS of Cuyahoga County. So technically still a county employee, the ADAMS Board is a quasi-independent part of the county government that does not report to the county executive, but is governed by an 18-member board of directors. With this transition, I had to rethink the implementation of my project. The Adams Board budget is developed on an annual basis, while the county's budget development is biennial. Currently, I'm redeveloping the process to be applied on a smaller scale annually. The groundwork started in OBM has given me a blueprint on improvements that could be made to the Adams Board or any government agency's budget process. With my transition into this new process, I have updated the phases of implementation for the budget process. Phase 1, I'll take the potential solutions of the OBM's budget process and reevaluate how it can be implemented at Adams Board. I'm sure that these can be scaled down. In phase 2, I'll take that data and try to scale it into a 1-year process. One pain point here may be the time of budget development. Being that the biennial process spans over 2 years, OBM usually has months in advance to begin to work. With Adams being a yearly budget, that time will have to be condensed down into maybe a month or a few weeks. Phase 3 would be a review of this process. Just like at the county, Adams Board has stakeholders such as their executive staff, board of directors, and finance staff who can be surveyed and garnered their likes and dislikes of the new process. Once this has been achieved, we have reached our goal. The annual budget will have been passed and the survey results would too garner a 75% satisfaction rate from stakeholders. I believe this will show some success in the improved process. While it may not be the end, it gets us to a good place where a routine review going forward would get us to the best budget process for the organization. The summary is still to be decided, but what I have taken away from the project is that plans change and we must remain flexible. Whether I had remained in OBM or not, the budget process could very much hit a roadblock that will cause us to pivot from the outline process to remain on schedule to meet necessary deadlines. A good process can be taken and applied anywhere, especially in government. If the process utilizes best practices, is transparent, and communicated well within the organization, it should be able to be applied across varying agencies. Lastly, a well-defined budget process is essential to any organization. The budget is the foundation of any organization and tells you what they value by looking at their numbers. One final thought. I believe that this video excerpt sums up why I have always and still believe that the budget process and OBM are so essential to the county, and the critical need for this process to be the best that it can be to uplift the county's strategic goals while being transparent and collaborative with all county agencies.
Budget procedure for us really starts almost a year and a half in advance. We start usually at the end of the previous year, talking to our agencies, just starting to get them in the mind of thinking about what they want to do in the future. I think OBM really is like an advocate for our agencies. We always try to fight for our agencies to make sure they're providing the best services, their employees are taken care of, and that they have what they need to do their job. Budget and management is kind of like the glue of the county. Like, we hold somewhat of the foundation for the county, and our one goal for everyone is just making sure that we keep the county in a financial healthy situation. I am Danielle Clark, and I am Cuyahoga County.
And this concludes my presentation. Thank you for taking the time today to listen.
Thank you, Danielle. That was amazing. I wanted to first of all say congratulations to you personally, not only putting together an awesome project, but congratulations on the new gig over at the Adams Board. I guess I have a question before others pop in there. It's nice to be the host because I can jump in and ask mine before others come in. But I was just curious to see about your transition from the county, not necessarily just the culture, but your changing role, from being within the administration to now being the director over that part, how things going with that, what's different, and what kind of things do you anticipate as you move forward in this new role?
So I think that my new role, which I feel like I was very much prepared for because I did take leadership before taking the PMA. So I feel as though those leadership courses really prepared me. This is my first role as a leader with actual employees under me. So it has been a change. It's on a smaller scale because being in OBM, I was over so many large budgets. Now just being able to focus on one, I feel like that really prepared me because I'm used to looking at everything macro and some micro level. So coming over to the Adams Board, I think I was prepared from my experience in OBM. So the change hasn't been too bad. I like it. I will say that.
Are you still collaborating with the county then? Since you are, yep.
Yeah, we still work with the county since all our finances and everything still goes through the county. So we still have some collaborative effort, still some emails back and forth with OBM since they still have to kind of make any changes to our budgets in the system. So it's always will be a collaborative effort there.
Mm-hmm. And I have one more before we already have 5 comments, so already in the chat. So I'm going to zip it pretty soon. But I guess I'm curious, and you might have mentioned this, in your new role, are you now then coordinating not only managing the budget or directing the budget within Adams Board, but are you now working with your partner agencies that are affiliated with the Adams Board as far as how they're working in their budgets, or is that totally a separate entity?
So that the providers we work with, they really do their own budget, but I will be working with our CFO this year on our budget. So far, we've already started looking at some projections as far as what the funding looks like, being as though we get a lot of our funding from the state. That's on a state fiscal year, July through June. So we've already started looking at the budget as the state prepares for their new budget. Great.
Well, I'm going to pass the baton over to Alexandra because they keep coming in, and I think you want to see this and hear this. So, Alexandra, I'm going to mute myself, which I don't like doing, but I'm going to do this because this is so cool.
All right, so far, just lots of comments. If you're in the audience, feel free to chat any questions that you have for Danielle in the Q&A box. But here are some comments, all positive. Angelia says, all I can say is Clark 2024. An audience member says, phenomenal job on your project, Danielle. Danny says, great job, Danielle. Great presentation. Way to wrap. Matt says, Danielle, congratulations. Great job presenting. Elena, a very well thought out project. I really liked how you took the project for OBM and incorporated it into the Adams Board. Loved your ending. My Linda says, great presentation. Your passion for change comes through. Kathleen says, great presentation. Congratulations on your new job. Brent says, I'm so happy that people like you exist in the world. Budgeting and finance are not my forte, and having someone like you who helps to uncover the mystery of finances and makes the planning process easier. Laverne says, excellent presentation. So far, just lots of comments, no questions. We'll hang around for a few more moments if you do have any questions for Danielle.
I just wanted to jump back in, and I wanted to compliment you, Danielle, on the combination of the management and the leadership component of things. Sometimes people get flustered, like, what's the difference between management and leadership? And in my brain, which is, maybe not, I'm not an authority, but I would say that I really love the fact that the management style of developing the budget and understanding what that tool does for you, but then also the leadership aspect of things, that process, the management style, also helps to provide leadership for the county and give them an ethical, transparent way to lead and effectively provide services to the community, and do it in a way that you're also supporting the internal folks, your internal customers, and your external customers. So I think sometimes when people say, well, what's the difference? What you just demonstrated here is a nice balance of both. And I'm really excited that your new role, that you get an opportunity to flex your muscle on both sides, because I think it's well deserved. And you're a superstar. And obviously, because you're in the video now, that you're famous too. I just want to say congrats on that. And just remember, that we are still here. So if you get too big, don't forget, that we're part of your team as well. So I would just want to say congratulations and pass it back to Alexandra.
Thanks, Rob.
So it looks like we have an audience member here who is on the board of directors for the East Cleveland Neighborhood Center, which receives major funding for the Adams Board. And it sounds like this person is interested in connecting with you, Danielle. So we'll make sure to facilitate that.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if there's any other questions or feedback, but if you all have any other comments, feel free to add that to the peer evaluation form or pass it along to us, and we'll make sure that it gets over to Danielle. So far, so good. I'm really ecstatic. Day 2 is just as going well as day 1. If there's any other questions, feel free, or comments, let us know. Otherwise, we're going to take our second break of the day, and we'll be returning back at sharp at 10:50 with our team from the Cleveland Municipal School District. So let's take a break and be back at 10:50. Thanks, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. Before we pass the baton over to Team CMSD, I just wanted to just say again how really proud I am of the presentations so far today. Just doing a fantastic job, and continue the momentum from day 1. It's all about teamwork and collaboration, and I think is very evident for how things have unrolled so far, and just the passion of the people that are part of this program. And that continues on with our next team. I want to give a shout out to Lamont Dotson and Chief Hill and just the whole team over at CMSD. I've really enjoyed working with Lamont, both when he was part of the Public Management Academy #4, his leadership experience, and then also through the Leadership Academy, and then how he wanted to stay engaged with the program afterwards, and now having him be part of the OCPM advisory board, and him being a champion for us and an ambassador. The folks that you continue to promote and send through our programs are just superstars, and that continues today. as we highlight Laverne Austin, Daniel Rivera, and Matthew Reuter. We are all in this together, especially through this COVID thing, and education really took it on the chin as far as having to adapt to the COVID parameters, figure out how to do school virtual, and access all the resources to continue to offer excellent education. And that takes a lot of management and a lot of leadership. And I can see why the CMSD is on the rise because of the folks that are part of your organization. So I just want to say thank you to Lamont, to Chief Hill, and all the folks that we've had a chance to get to know and work with, and really, really proud of what you produced, and proud and honored to be walk along this journey with you and to call you friends. So if Team CMSD is there, if they could share their screen, and well, you're sharing your screen, but yep, you're all good to go. And without further ado, I want to pass the baton over to Mr. Daniel Rivera. Go ahead, share your screen, and you're good to go, Danny, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Rob. Ready?
All right, thank you.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm Lieutenant Daniel Rivera with the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. Me, Laverne Austin, and Matthew Ryder have worked on a process improvement project, and the name of the project is Precise Print. So I want everyone to take a look at this room for a minute and imagine being in this room with 50 to 100 staff members trying to get fingerprinted. Since 2006, Safety and Security has administered fingerprints for the entire school district. We have fingerprinted potential new hires, all current employees for compliance, licensure renewals, contractors, volunteers, and students. Background checks are part of our onboarding process to ensure we hire the most honest, safe, and qualified candidates for the safety of our staff and students. In the past, the fingerprinting process has used 8 sheets of paper per applicant, or about 20,000 sheets of paper per year. This has caused significant delays in processing new hires due to difficulty in reading eligible handwriting, problems with faulty equipment, constant network issues, costly supplies, and most of the time, not enough manpower. In return, these delays cost the district time and money. When customers are ink-rolled, a name and social security search is necessary. This process causes a 2-month delay if there's a mistake in that process. When errors occur on paper, additional steps are needed, which causes supplemental fees. When things go wrong, there are delays in the district's hiring process, as well as a hit to CMSD's budget. In the past, there was no system in place to schedule each person at their own individual time. Essentially, everyone was fingerprinted on a walk-in basis. Walk-in hours were from 9 to 11 and 2 to 4. There could be up to 50 to 100 people waiting at once, employees waiting until the last minute. Much like us, our employees, like we wait to the last minute for Christmas shopping, our employees wait to the last minute to get fingerprinted after their licenses renewed. And in the past, there was only one way to pay, and that was via money order. And anybody that's been to our offices over here on 79th knows there's very few banks around, if any, and even less stored. So if you came in here with cash, we had to send you back out. And if you didn't find a bank or a store to give you a money order, you would have to come back another day and take your chances with the next group of 50 to 100 people, or come back that day and get right back in line to the end of the line and wait even longer to get your finger. This time, I'm going to pass the baton over to my teammate, Laverne Austin, and she is going to make even more sense of everything I just talked about.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Laverne Austin. I am the Administrative Operations Manager for CMSD. As Lieutenant Rivera shared, we were killing trees, had chaos, long lines, wasting money and our resources. In a plan to eliminate it all and go paperless, our task was to fingerprint 1,500 employees by September for compliance and licensure renewals, and safely do so during the COVID-19 pandemic. And looking at the challenges we faced, it gave us the opportunity to be able to begin to improve the failed systems of the past by utilizing the technologies that were readily available. That technology included Smartsheet, Microsoft Bookings, biometric fingerprint scan, and iPads. Smartsheet is a project management tool that would allow us to create, manage, and share the project and processes under authorized access. It has the capabilities to create forms to eliminate the 6 to 8 sheets of paper. We will be able to add payroll deduction as an option, and a link to the form could be shared via email. A receipt and survey will be sent to everyone who completed their prints. All fingerprint results could be uploaded for easy access. And as you can see, Smartsheet would offer us no paper cuts, and we will stop killing trees, wasting manpower and resources. No stress, no mess. Microsoft Bookings is an online scheduling tool in Microsoft 365. It would allow us to set up a calendar and manage our availability so that employees could book their own appointments. Saves costs because the district utilizes Microsoft 365. No long waits or chaos, and most of all, no stress. The biometric fingerprint scan is newer technology that we purchased. That hardware is used to capture fingerprints and data of an individual for verification of identity.
Hey, Laverne, you're on mute.
Okay.
There you go. I think we missed the last couple statements there. I apologize.
Should I go back? Okay, the iPads, I'm sorry.
You're good. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. The iPads would be used to verify information that was put into Smartsheets. With this, we had no stress. Last April, in the midst of the pandemic, we met with several departments to put a plan together for the 1,500 employees who needed to be fingerprinted for compliance and licensure renewals. In that plan, we discussed location, social distancing, staffing, and sanitizing as our biggest weakness and threat. We knew there had to be a better way. After several meetings, we saw the opportunity for process improvement. We knew that the newer technology, Microsoft Bookings and Smartsheet was a strength. So in June, we tested our theory on 10 staff members who needed to be fingerprinted and 3 staff members from our team who manned the machines and shifts. We chose the gymnasium because it was conveniently located at the front entrance and it did not have to be sanitized. We did not have to sanitize the whole building. We also chose the gymnasium because the size allowed us to properly social distance. The link was shared via email to those individuals. They came to their scheduled appointments with an ID. We verified their information with iPads. They were fingerprinted, they sanitized, and they were in and out in 5, a model that we have adopted in our department. We sanitized our stations and we were ready for the next person. Their receipt, along with the survey, how are we doing because we care, was sent via email. After evaluating all the appointments and the completed surveys, we made some minor adjustments and we were ready to put this plan into full action. Needless to say, those 1,500 employees were fingerprinted and completed before the September deadline. The plan proved to be successful. No stress to our staff, and there was no mess. Everyone, please hold your applause. We're not finished yet because Matt Ryder will share the benefits of our process improvement and our continuous improvement through survey. Here's Matt Ryder.
Good morning. Thank you, Danny and Laverne. Let's talk some numbers.
If you listen close enough, you just may come across the winning lottery numbers. However, no guarantees. I'm going to share with you just who's benefiting from this process already and exactly how much we were able to save the Cleveland Metropolitan School District by being in and out in 5. Some benefits of this improved process for the Department of Safety and Security: with the collaboration between Human Resources and the Department of Safety and Security, vacant positions were filled quicker, and we had educators in place teaching our kids that much faster. Shared smart sheet access ensured an improved onboarding process. Employees can schedule their fingerprinting appointment around their schedule. A more friendly process included payroll deduction. So some benefits for our improved process that benefited our department as a whole. This process allowed us to go completely paperless. It provided opportunities to prioritize and improve time management on other projects and responsibilities. It saved CMSD money while dramatically cutting costs. Surveys gave us the edge in adjusting quickly to either positive or improvement needed feedback. Cost cutting. So think back to that original first slide that Lieutenant Rivera shared. Remember our lobby? Now remember, 50 to 100 people waiting to get fingerprinted, 6 to 8 sheets of paper, just unhappy customers. That way of the past cost the district $12.68 to fingerprint one staff member, $12.68 to fingerprint one potential new hire before this process improvement began. Now, when we started this, we didn't know how much we would actually be able to get our bottom line down to. But after we implemented the technology and by the use of appointments and by cutting our staff members from 2 staff members to fingerprint to 1, we were able to dramatically cut our costs in the end. So $1.83 at a cost to CMSD to fingerprint that 1 staff member, only $1.83 to fingerprint that potential new hire. Remember, that's out of pocket. It's a potential new hire doing a background check. Doesn't mean that they're going to come in there. That's a savings of $21,500 a year. A savings that not only reflects in the budget, but also in the overall in giving back and educating students of Cleveland. Because let's be honest, anybody that works for CMSD or knows anyone who does, everything is about the kids. On average, CMSD fingerprints 2,000 staff members, contractors, new hires, volunteers during any given school year. Since 2006 through May of 2020, it cost on average CMSD $25,000 a year in time, staff, resources, supplies to ensure this mandatory step in compliance for license renewals for all employees. In June of 2020 to today, this process is only costing the district $3,600, a little over $3,600 a year to provide the same services that we did last year. Survey says we had an 84% reduction in our costs in savings, 84%. You don't have to take my word for it. Let's see what our customers have to say. Now, most of you don't know, but in my spare time, I also am a Steve Harvey impersonator. So when you ask precise prints, why do you care? How are we doing? That's right. It's completely effortless. So as our customer satisfaction survey, we strive for operational excellence here at Safety and Security. So some quotes from June 20th, 2020, the process was completely effortless. I received appointment reminders, which included what I needed to bring with me for the actual appointment. I cannot recall the representative's name. However, she was pleasant, patient, and informative. June 29th, 2020. In this time of COVID, all in all, good job. In the space of the gym at East, it was hard to be homey and welcoming. Considering all, I'm grateful for the work, for the people who took the time to help me renew my license. Fingerprints were my last step, thanks. June 30th, 2020. Positive comments in regards to timeliness of notifications, spacing of intake stations, sanitizer, and an ability to have fee payroll deducted. Appointments were on time. As we continue excellent service and excellent and quick service, July 20th, 2020, the lady who assisted me at my appointment this morning was very friendly and efficient. I did not have to wait long. As soon as I walked in, she greeted me and waited on me. July 22nd, 2020. The entire staff from the beginning of my visit to the end was very professional, nice, and kind. Staff reminded guests that safety of all is most important. COVID-19 supplies were free and available at every station, and friendly reminders were given. Many people were serviced, but the whole process was well organized. I felt very comfortable and at ease. Even though we saw coworkers and CMSD staff, we were kindly encouraged not to linger. Everyone was nice. So it sounds like we got all of that right? We did not at first, right? So as we strive for continuous improvement, taking the feedback from the survey, June 12th, 2020, please have hand sanitizer on each table. Tissue would be very good. A small trash can at the spot would be very good. Gymnasium at East Professional Center is quite noisy due to the fans running. It is difficult to converse well at recommended social distances. And June 15th, 2020, I would appreciate if the person doing my fingerprints had worn a mask. We don't always get it right. They were great at being socially distant when possible. The other person doing the fingerprints had a mask on. However, it was not covering their nose. This protects them as well as people they're fingerprinting. Other than that, it was great. In and out in less than 10. There's some more, right? We're not done yet. July 8th, 2020. Again, as we can strive for continuous improvement with our feedbacks, the women conducting background checks were efficient in how they provided services. The issue was scheduling and how there were a number of us scheduled for the same time. We were then yelled at by security as if it was our fault. We were chastised by security for crowding the gym. Not a pleasant experience because of that. September 2nd, 2020. It was difficult to make an appointment because maybe have the person to contact listed on the BCI page. October 14th, 2020. Security at the front desk suggested that the background check office was not open until I told her that I had an appointment. So all in all, we really don't always get it right, but taking the feedback from these surveys, we were able to implement some changes. We implemented a change where the contact person now is listed on the BCI page. Class in closing, guests, precise prints was created as a process improvement project, safety and security to safely fingerprint 1,500 staff members during the COVID-19 pandemic. When we started this, we honestly had no idea how significantly we would be able to cut costs. How much can you save? Thank you.
That was awesome, team. I'm a huge fan of Family Feud, so I couldn't wait to hear your impersonations. But I just want to say that you guys just won $20,000 and won 5 times in a row, so you win a new car. You can pick it up next Monday. So that was fantastic. While there's any questions or feedback coming into the Q&A, I wanted to give you kudos. I really love, I'm a big nerd, that's obvious. And the part of the PMA part that I love is the thought of continuous improvement. And it's really easy when you look at the evaluations to focus in on the positives and throw away the negatives. And I love the fact that you took that as constructive criticism, a way to continuously improve, but also look yourselves in the mirror and say, how can we make this better? So I love the fact that I can definitely see the tools from PMA that are coming out of your projects. And you all just did a fantastic job. And I think that the one thing that was there, where you said you can save $20,000 or whatever it is a year, but multiply that times the number of years that you're going to be offering that service. And that's pretty significant, in addition to the customer service aspect of things as well. So I also want to make one comment. This is a new perk or a new feature of the PMA presentations, and that you all were on chairs and slid in and out. So Cedar Point is opening today. I think you all created a new ride for us. I'm going to suggest to my folks at Cedar Point. So Alexander, I'm going to pass it over to you.
All right, so feel free to send in your questions in the designated Q&A box. We do have 2 comments right now. The first comes from your fellow classmate, Elena. An incredibly awesome project, huge time and money saver, great job.
Thank you.
And then your coworker, Terry, says, my coworkers, a well-needed process improvement, good job.
Thank you.
All right, so those are the only 2 comments we have right now. So again, feel free to chat your questions. We'll hang around for a few more moments.
I do have a question. As you all were looking to revamp this process, what kind of feedback did you get from the internal folks, the worker bees, the managers, supervisors that were going to have to implement this thing? Was there any pushback or buy-in, or what's that look like internally with the culture as far as how this is working?
Rob, I'm going to pass it over to Laverne for her to comment on the initial startup with our leadership command staff.
Hi, Rob. So we didn't really have pushback when we were implementing. The problem we had was the old process and the constant complaints that we had because we couldn't get people hired fast enough because either they were losing the paperwork. It could have been, social security numbers were wrong. It was various reasons why, but throughout the years, we were trying to make adjustments from all the meetings that we were having with HR. And when I was gone for a minute, and when I came back, we tried to use the technology. The only pushback that we really do have, and we still have today, a lot of people don't want to complete the Smart Sheet form because of the information that is actually put in the form. But again, because that form can only be shared with certain people. It can't make changes to the form, but HR has access to it, which HR should have access to it. But we had a HR person just recently complaining that they didn't feel comfortable putting their private information in. Okay, and that was perfectly fine. So we sent emails back and forth, and you can't move to the next step unless you put your social in there. So I just said, just put all zeros. And when you come in, bring a social security card. We will make sure that information is put in, and that's it. But other than that, with the iPads, we can verify everything, and people are okay with it. They actually love the process. And so we have been continuing the process since then and not have stopped. And I love the fact that we don't use paper at all.
That's great. Well, thank you. I'm going to pass it back over to Alexandra.
Okay.
So it looks like we just still have some good vibes coming from your classmates and colleagues. Danielle says, awesome presentation. I love that you took all feedback into account to look at improvements. Kathleen says, great job on solutions to a frustrating situation. Lamont says, the bar has been raised. Great presentation, everyone. Dennis says, I am really proud of the effort that this team made with the project. I see the fruits of their labor and not just the comments received by the casual conversations in the meetings that I attend. I am so honored to lead this team. They represent our department well. And then Carrie
Thank you.
says, such a great job, guys.
Oh, thank you, everybody, for being here, and thank you for all the great comments.
Well, thanks. I'm not sure if anybody else wants to say anything, closing comments from Team CMSD. Matt, I actually just want to see you all shuffle through the screen. That's kind of what I'm trying to do, but I'm just
Here we
messing.
go. Here we go. Bye.
Be careful. I don't want any kind of grievances or anybody falling, so be careful with your chairs there. I
Sure.
just want to close out. Matt, did you want to say anything? Okay, cool. Well, I just want to say thanks to Lamont and Chief Hill. Dennis has been a longtime friend of me personally and of the programs, and I'm just so thankful that you share your folks with us and invest in our programs. Really look forward to continue to work with you and them, and just a great example, great ambassadors of what leadership and management is all about, and putting your mouth, and words into actions, and that creating this system not only provides service to the community at large, but also to give examples internally of how you can change, think outside the box, and really do things different. Dennis, you want to say something?
Yeah, Rob, thanks, Alexander, for giving me just a quick moment. This was a very challenging 2 years for all of us. To have a change in leadership, me coming in, Lamont coming into our new positions, and then to immediately, a couple months later, shut down for the pandemic. And the response for this team has been phenomenal. This was a monumentous task, something that had to get done. And I really want to thank Laverne for her leadership, Danny and Matt for all that you do every day. I know from just being in meetings with HR and other folk that you are well received. This has been a godsend for the district. I hear a lot about it. Our Chief Talent Officer, Lori Ward, talks about it, Jamie Parker, and all the people that were involved in helping set up with this team. But I also want to say that we are very fortunate to have great leaders in our department, and they're represented throughout the various cohorts. Lieutenant Wheeler and DC Dotson are on this call along with me, but we probably have 8 or 10 people that have either gone through or going through. So the contributions that you all make in our lives make us better as a team. So thank you to Rob and Alexandra and all the people who put forth this great effort. And then thank you to my team for the hours that you put into this. I actually was in the office the other day when they were practicing. I told them I was going to come in personally and throw them off their game, but I decided not to do that. They did an excellent job, even though they were spinning around in chairs. They did an excellent job. So thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. And yeah, I forgot to mention that Lamont, when Lamont was in our programs, that he got promoted to the deputy chief. So man, I'm just proud of you too. And this is what it all means. You put the work in, put the effort, and you get rewarded for your hard work. And the folks on the screen now, thank you so much for bringing it and just doing a great job. So thank you so much. We're going to switch over to the next project. And I do want to give a quick shout out. I know that Deborah Benton was in the house, who's in our current PMA programs. And there's also Charlene Jones, who's from CSU. But we do have some guests that are coming in and out from various PMA programs. And just want to say thank you for being part of today and being part of the family. So thanks, guys. And Laverne, you all did a fantastic job. So that's, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to our very last project of the day. Last but definitely not least, I would like to present to you our final project, which is going to be presented to you on behalf of the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. And the title is called Payment Plan Process Improvement, which again, I love the whole kind of concept of process improvement. It's my big thing. And I'd like to invite my Linda Marcoux to the stage. And I will pass the baton, and you can rock and roll at your leisure. I think you just need to share your screen there at the bottom.
Yes, I'm trying to see. I don't see it. Slightly different. Okay, I see it now.
All right, you should be set to go. Have fun. Oh, you're all set.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Melinda Marco. I work for Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District and Finance Department. I'm manager of accounting, and I've been there for about 7 years. Today's presentation is about how we streamline payment plan process. I'm going to go over some key points about just fun facts about the district, goals of the presentation, the stakeholders impacted by this process improvement, just a brief overview of a current payment plan process. And then next, I'll go over benefits and opportunities of this improvement, as well as action plans and results. Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District is the largest wastewater treatment provider in the state of Ohio. The district owns and operates 3 wastewater treatment plants. One is shown here on the left of the screen as Easterly Wastewater Plant. We serve about 1 million residents, and we handle, that converts to 330,000 customer accounts. We also own and operate 330 miles of sewer, one stretch shown here in the middle, Don Valley Tunnel. We also own and operate 427 miles of regional stormwater system, one stretch here shown on the right of the screen. We also provide water quality monitoring. We serve City of Cleveland and 61 surrounding communities. The green map here shows how far our service goes. The district is a political subdivision of state of Ohio, and we are subject to Ohio Revised Code 6119. And with that, we have a board of trustees that governs our district and which have exclusive authority and responsibility to establish and maintain sewage and stormwater rates imposed for services and facilities provided by the district. And so with that, our mission is to provide progressive management of sewage and stormwater through fiscal responsibility, innovation, and community partnership. And in line with the district mission, the primary goals of this project were to sustain revenue, increase efficiency and productivity, to sustain or increase customer satisfaction, to establish a compliance and reporting tool, and how the purpose of this project was to streamline the process in a way that we can utilize our Oracle financial system, this standardized payment plans operating procedures, create real-time reporting to aid collection processes, establish a multi-step review that satisfies compliance with internal controls, and also move from paper documentation to electronic documentation, and also improve the staff's time management. And so we would do this by reviewing, we did this by reviewing the existing process and workflows, policies and procedures. And by doing that, we identified challenges and bottlenecks on the current process, drop-offs, which are impact, usually a task is when a task is delegated to a team member or a different department, it gets lost, unseen, forgotten. And then we troubleshooted the workflows to find areas of improvements. We had interviews and walkthroughs with the staff from each department to better understand and identify those areas for improvement. We met with departments and the process owners and to go over their processes, as I said, and then test changes and implement those changes at the end. The stakeholders of this process improvement are in two groups. We have process owners, which includes our team, our employees, and it involves three departments: customer service, finance, and information technology. We also, the most important stakeholders of this improvement are our customer base, specifically direct billed by the finance department. This is county specific, the scope of this process, and it's specifically for the accounts billed for residential accounts with the rural Lorraine County Authority. And the scope of this project was limited because it involves only about 1,700 accounts that are billed internally. And the payment plan requests make about 1.5% of the total accounts and 2.5% of the residential accounts. Because just a fact for understanding for the audience is that, as I said before in the previous slides, we have about 330,000 accounts. A majority, 96% of those accounts are handled and billed by Cleveland Water Department and our the main billing agent. We also have North Royalton and Berea that bill that counts on our behalf for their area. That's why the limit of the scope of this project is limited to just the direct billed accounts. The current, the district has an established payment plan process for the accounts billed directly by finance department. Ideally, all the invoices would be paid on time and there would be no need for a payment plan or alternative payment arrangement. But the fact is that a lot of businesses suffer revenue loss from delinquent accounts. And one of the best practices to mitigate that loss is to offer customers some flexibility. And one of those flexibilities are payment arrangements, or payment plans. So those are just means for the customers that cannot pay their full balance, that it spreads out over their outstanding balance, and it's more from financial perspective, it's easier for them to maintain that arrangement. The current payment plan process for the district, the impact is minimal on a lost revenue. As I said, only for the reason that the payment plan process targets only like 1.7% of our customer base. And therefore, given the activity, this was not a priority from the business perspective to have external specialized solution to improve the process. However, the current process is 100% manual. It includes 12 steps, 2 different departments, it's finance and customer service. It can range time-wise to complete from 5 to 8 hours. There is no step review. It's completely paper documentation, so we have the risk of lost papers. There are inconsistencies and irregularities with the process. So thinking about what to improve, was the base of my thinking was the benefits and the opportunities for this improvement. And offering customer, one is increased customer satisfaction. Offering customers payment options is an important convenience for them. And it also increases the customer's perceived value of the district. The improvement process would allow for immediate available data in the financial system, eliminate the need of inner office email. And this is where it's increased productivity and communication. And also it utilizes the resources better. We do have a powerful financial system, Oracle, and this was not utilized at all because of the scope of the payment plan process was small. And also it would increase significantly compliance with the reporting and internal controls. We would have instant reporting. We'd establish audit trail from start to finish, and it would be visible across the district and users. The benefits and opportunities, I saw it on a customer's perspective as well. Offering payment plans option to them is helping customers have more flexibility and various choices, and not just having one, like one choice. That would be, also help our district with predictable source of the collection of that money. On a perspective of customer, it would mitigate their account issues. There are other processes in place for delinquent balances over 180 days. We have a collection certification process where delinquent balance go to our lien to the property of those customers, and it would be force collected through the county through taxes. So this payment plan option would give them a pass on that and an opportunity to pay at their own time. Also, one of the big impacts, and I feel like the most rewarding that I feel on my part, is that we minimize their financial hardship. A lot of our customer base are senior citizens, and their income is very limited, and offering more choices to them, it's very rewarding because they want to pay their bills, but sometimes they can't. And as I mentioned throughout this presentation, this just enhances loyalty and value of the district on customers' eyes. We developed an action plan that covered all of our 6 project objectives. As I mentioned before, we met with customer service, collaboration, service department, their team. To review their policy and procedures, to review standard operating procedures, to review payment plan issued already, all in a paper form. This gave me the opportunity to document the existing process, to identify issues. We also brainstormed with team members of the customer service to identify the wants and needs. We also met with information technology department to create a new module. Currently, in the existing process, Oracle has functionality added to each process owners based on their job description, and payment plan capability was not listed in either finance or customer service. So we wanted to create a new module under Oracle, so it's easy, it's very user friendly, and it directs the employees to the page that they need to enter all the information. And this would be, we developed the plan with the IT team to create descriptive flex fields on customer accounts And so instead of using a Word file that is used previously in the current and existing process, customer service would just input their terms of the payment plan directly on customer accounts. And the IT would also activate electronic attachment functionality, and this helps and enables to have all the paper documentation moved to electronic documentation, which it allows to build history, to build customer trends on payments, to identify customer account and issues with them, and also it's visible across the district. And also another thing that we wanted to build was an instant alert. So when those flex fields under customer accounts are being populated by a new plan arrangement, an instant alert goes across the teams that, hey, there's a new payment plan being created. So it prompts them to do their part of the workflow, which before it was done through inner office snail mail, which then we had all, it's a lost papers and not going to the right person. So the next step of the action plan was to test the new steps and implement. We shared and coordinated our efforts with the 3 teams of the finance, customer service, and IT. And IT helped us with building a program that compares the reports. We're tracking payment plans by status. So if they maintain payment arrangement terms, then their status is active. There's no need for more actions. If their payment plan, if they're not keeping up with the payment plan, then the system triggers the status to broken, and then that prompts finance team to take other steps to contact the customers to see what the issue is there. Establish audit trail is hugely important to be compliant with internal controls and with external or internal audit. And then instant reporting, which is honestly the main reason why I thought about this process, because before it was all in a manual Excel spreadsheet that, it could be prone to errors, and it's not shareable, instantly shareable to other teams. And so, looking at this project, I used the SWOT analysis to see, to identify more what is being accomplished here. And the strengths of, during this project was the expertise among district team. My team and I in finance, we've done this process. I've done it for 7 years. So I knew the process inside and out, and I knew what needed to be changed. And so we had the expertise and knowledge from other members in the customer service. This is also one of the strengths of the project was a tracking record. So similar successful projects, financial resources. We had approved budget for this project. I had a full support by my leadership, department leadership, we had an established process before, even though it was 100% manual. So we didn't have to create a new project as a process from scratch. Weaknesses identified here was a lack of engagement or collaboration, especially in the beginning, because the scope was so small. Some individuals thought that this didn't have a lot of value. And also, as previous speakers mentioned, the project timeline was during 2020. So it was approved end of 2019, and it started happening in beginning of 2020. And as we all know, we were faced with COVID-19 extreme situation. And we, like a team was completely refocused in other areas, and the lack of collaboration or engagement was noted, especially the first part of 2020, as other, the perspectives shifted. And this also fits into the competing projects timeline change, because this is just one part of the probably tens of IT projects. And during the 2020 COVID lockdown, that timelines shifted and impacted this project. And also employee turnover. We did, there is a risk that after the project is implemented and is being utilized, all these improvements, we would have turnover in finance or customer service, and that impacts, that knowledge goes out the door and impacts our continuation of the usage of this improvement. What I saw as opportunities was front and foremost was the increased accuracy and real-time reporting. I was so excited about this. Electronic documentation, increased accountability and compliance, team productivity was, reallocating their efforts and sources into more important deadlines and projects, and new ideas to improve other processes. This project definitely sparked a lot of new ideas, and my mind went in overdrive, or where I can improve reporting and and spark a review of all of my month and end year processes, what can I do to improve those as well. Threats and weaknesses kind of go hand in hand. Resistant to change and naysayers. You always have those people who like what they do already, and they don't see the point for change. External environment is a huge component of threats, and we know COVID-19 switched priorities and shifted mindset of people, and impacted the project, my project implementation, the full implementation. And then another threat that I see from a current process of the inaccurate data entry. So if everything is manual, is being inputted in Excel spreadsheets, or is lost through the inter-office email, and that results into an inaccurate view of the payment plans and inaccurate reporting. So results, as I said, this process improvement was supposed to be 100% implemented by December 2020. And due to COVID-19, our IT shifted their resources into operational, action, and reallocated a lot of its resources in our other projects. As a part of it was like 70% of our workforce went from being in the offices to remote work, and so the IT infrastructure needed to be laid out, and everything that goes with it. So that kind of pushed back my project to the second half of 2020. However, we were able to implement most of our steps, most of our improvements, and that converted to like eliminating 8 steps from previous process. We now have available history on the customer accounts. All the previous paper documentation was scanned into our financial system, and then any payment plan created during 2020 was inputted directly in our financial system. So we have available history there for our process. We established real-time reporting an audit trail. Even though the reporting tool is still being tweaked on, we do have that capability now. We establish electronic documentation. We reduce time to complete the process from 1 day to 1 hour. So unexpected results. This was such a blessing because this project kicked off other process improvements within finance department. Currently, I have 3 projects relating to streamlining reporting across areas that improves monthly and end-year reporting, and specifically external audit reporting that we have on a yearly basis. I have 1 project to automate payment application of residential accounts with rural Lorain County, and that's a very small portion, about 200 payment application that is manually done by 1 person, but automating the project, the payment process would take no time. It would just be 1 press of the button. And so that's going on and it's close to completion. I was expecting to have teamwork and improve, but not at the level that it has. It really has gone from 0 to 10 in terms of instant communication and collaboration with across departments. And this allowed, especially teams from different departments, customer service and finance, to understand the common goal. And our common goal is to be accountable, to be financial viable, and also to provide excellent customer service. And the results of this project also sparked an employee engagement on other areas and their want to do better and to see where can I improve personal skills and my work skills. Next steps. Unfortunately, the project was not 100% implemented, but it's 90% implemented, and it was delayed just a little bit. Final stages of the project is just making it better. We still have to create that alert in production, which is the financial system across the teams, so it can align the workflow and departmental processes. And then we have some final tweaks to customize reporting tool. We in finance and personally, I'm getting more greedy on how to make the tool better and what I want and what I don't want. So I don't see this improvement as a one-time improvement. We did it and that's it. I see it as a continuous effort to improve not only payment plan process, but improving other processes within our department. And with that, I conclude my presentation. I thank you for your time to listen to my presentation, and I welcome any questions that you might have.
Well, this has been a fantastic way to put a bow on this entire program. I can't think of a better presentation to wrap it up. I was furiously writing down notes because I just get a kick out of this stuff. And some things I wrote down was customer satisfaction, revenue sustainability, increased productivity and communication. And then I thought that was good. You had me hooked then. But then when you talked about the inspiring 4 other process improvement projects, then you had me a hello. So I just can't believe that not only this project helped to make your operations more efficient and effective, but it has changed the culture, it sounds like. Can you talk real quick about this, what's going on with these? I don't want you to go through the 4 other projects. That's not my question. My question is the ripple effect. When you put a pebble in a pond and it has the ripple effect, how did this what was your observation from your team and your colleagues as this went through, and then also they said we can do this, this, and this? How did that work? What's the momentum behind it, and what do you see as like the future potential of that kind of philosophy as you move forward?
Yeah, I want to start by saying that being in this program has really been very helpful, and I would not be able to do what I, or what I've accomplished so far if I haven't been in the program, because it just gives you that systematic thinking, and it just triggers more thoughts in the process and what you can do better. And I because I've done the manual process myself for about 5 years or 4 years prior to moving in the management, I knew the frustration and the areas of the improvement, like where it needs to be improved. But I did not have that push to like move to have the idea across until I moved into the management, and having all these tools provided during this program kind of like gave me the green light to present it to the team. I was very excited, and I know it was not easy at the beginning because people cannot be as excited as you are on certain things. But with my team, they welcomed the changes and they were excited as well. And that could be because our common thread is we're accountants and we're nerds, and we like to have, see actual technical improvements. But going beyond that, what really made me think is, how can I do things better? And we discussed with the team, and we identified our areas, our reporting. Well, where do we spend more time? Some tasks are redundant in finance, and so what can we do to improve that better? But the biggest challenge and reward was to work with customer service department, because they're in a different setting and different objectives in terms of how they do their day-to-day operation, and just conveying that and the benefits from their perspective, I think made the needle move. And so I'm really excited with the other projects and that are going on, and I think they're going to be wrapped up in a month or two, and I could have not done this without the support of my manager. And my CFO is very future progressive thinker, and anything that can be done, he's okay doing. So it just, I cannot explain how your mind start thinking of other areas of improvement when this was not even fully implemented. It's like, am I taking too much here? And sometimes the challenge is juggling all of them and trying to coordinate, because I had to, especially with the IT team, they were saying, you're killing us. Which project are you talking about? Is this one, or because they track it different way? But I really appreciate all the tools and the sessions and the classes that I've gone through this program, because they've helped me come out of my shell in terms of being more effective with presenting and conveying my message to other teams. So I thank you for that.
Well, I'm so proud of you. Great job. Congratulations, and keep it going, because I think what I want to say to you too is that people are watching you. People are paying attention and noticing when your operation, and you'll be a role model and a leader and an effective manager, and that makes a difference. So keep up that good work. I'm going to pass it over to Alexandra. What's the comment? What we have going on in the comment section?
Yeah, so we have a few comments and one question so far. So I'll start with some comments, all positive thoughts. Elena says a very good job. Streamlining processes and implementing change is always hard, but you put together a solid plan and considered the impact to internal and external customers. Plus, you inspired ideas. Team CMSD says, great job, my Linda. Excellent detailed presentation. Danielle says, great job. The fact that you inspired more process improvement projects really speaks to the caliber of work you're doing at Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. Keep being a champion of change. Tim says, good job. And Kathleen has a comment and a question. Great project and presentation. What determines if a customer is direct bill or billed by Cleveland Water?
So because of the flux of the accounts, we have 330,000 accounts billed. The district did not have the resources to bill all those accounts and have the infrastructure to being able to maintain that. So it has been established long years ago that Cleveland Water Department is, because we bill our customers based on the water usage, and therefore using their system, it was, better move than having a whole infrastructure within our department. And we would certainly not have the workforce that is needed to be able to bill and maintain 330,000 accounts. So that's the reason behind having billing agent. We pay a fixed fee. It was like $1 million to Cleveland Water for the service. And we have also Berea and North Royalton that is in a smaller scale, much smaller scale, about 2-3% of the rest of the accounts. And for the direct bill, it was just in a recent years, I think before I came with the district, that they started billing rural Lorain County residents. And that was decided because the scope and the number of accounts were limited, that our finance department and our district could manage internally. So direct bill means it's billed directly by our finance and billing agent do the rest of our billing for us. Not sure if I answered your question, Kathleen.
Okay, last call for questions or comments. Kathleen says yes, you answered it.
Well, once again, I just want to say thank you. My Linda, it's a fantastic presentation and a great way to put a cherry on top of the sundae. And if I could go out with you all, I'd buy you sundaes, but I can't now, but we will soon. And I promise that we're going to celebrate in person when the coast is clear. On behalf of our team, I just want to congratulate everybody that presented over the last couple days. I did get a chance to speak personally with our 2 advisory board members who were with us the last couple of days. Erica Walsh from the Columbus Regional Airport Authority. She was unable to make any kind of live comments because she's actually managing the communications department there, but she wanted to pass along her congratulations and to the entire organization, entire group. Some of the things that she said was that it's amazing the projects that you put together, not only for the process improvement initiatives, but expanding horizons and doing all that stuff in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of having a full job and career and all those responsibilities and family and outside commitments, and that your resiliency stuck through the program and just nailed it. So on behalf of her, I just want to say congratulations. We also got a chance to speak to Deputy Chief Dodson. Mr. Dodson kind of echoed the same comments, and he said I thought was interesting is that he was in PMA number 4 and that you all raised the bar even that much higher. So not only his team that went through the program, but everybody that was presenting over the last couple of days. So I'm really proud of the legacy that you are all building here for us as an institution and for you as members and colleagues and friends. I have a quick couple announcements, and then I'd like to wrap it up with a statement. The project presentations obviously have concluded. There are still one more deliverable, and that is the written report. Some of you have submitted those, and we appreciate that. We also would like to collect them from everyone, but we will be responding and submitting all of the feedback forms that we received. You'll be getting those over the next couple days. Please take a look at them. Consider any comments or potential opportunities to, if you want to tweak your written report. And we would like to have those written reports, if possible, at sometime at the beginning of June. And if you need any kind of assistance, feel free to contact myself or Alexandra on that in that regard. So once we finish up with the written report, you're all good to go, other than any makeup sessions that you have. I was so pumped by these projects that I talked to Alexandra and we made an executive decision. Historically, back in the old OCPM days, there was something called the George Askew Award, and the award was given to the best project from the OCPM program in that given year. And so what I'd like to do is find a way to reestablish that. And what I'd like to do the first round here is I would like you, the actual cohort members, the peers, to select the best project from this cohort. And we're going to go back to cohort number 4 as well and ask them to participate and select their best project from PMA number 4. What's going to happen is we're going to have the best project from each cohort kind of compete against each other, and then eventually from that cycle identify the best project from that particular cycle. So no, it's a little bit of competition. I didn't mean to drop it on you, but I'm so thrilled by what you all produced that I want to celebrate this as we move forward. Pretty simple, no elaborate process, just let us know your thoughts, and we'd like to provide that feedback as we move forward. I want to end with the word proud. I've said it probably 1,000 times because I think that's the one thing that keeps popping in my head. My job, I have the best job in the world, and I consider you all to be part of my family. And the word proud to me is kind of coming through over and over and over and over again. But it's not just the proud of what you think. For me, like proud, it starts with P, and that's the preparation. You all put a ton of time and energy into your projects, different renditions of your projects, put a ton of time in the research and data collection, coming up with a pilot, figuring out what works. And it was very obvious today when I was watching you today and everyone from on Wednesday that you put a lot of time in preparation, not only for the day, but actually preparation for what a great product would look like. R in proud stands for me to be resilient. This cohort was the first one that was impacted by the pandemic. We started out in person, if you remember, way back in Westlake Recreation Center. We're supposed to be in person, see each other every other Thursday, and then bam, we got pushed online and trying to figure out a new normal. And I just can't believe the resiliency that you all demonstrated to not only continue to excel within your workplace, to deal with COVID. I know that several of you actually were impacted by it, friends, family, and yourselves, and that you fought through that and overcame those challenges, and just that we're here today to celebrate everybody's success. I want to say, for me, O is outside, and you might say, well, you mean take a walk out in this beautiful day? Well, I hope you do that. But I want to say that a lot of you went outside of your comfort zone. I can't tell you how many calls I received from participants that were literally freaking out that they would not want to be on the screen, that they would be happy to be part of the program, but they did not want to present, and they were afraid and scared to go through this process. I want to thank you for trusting us to go through this journey. understand that it was going to be outside of your comfort zone, but that you all did an amazing job. And I'm very proud to see you excel. Everybody killed it, even especially those ones that had the nerves, the butterflies in your stomach that you were willing to share with me. I'm not going to call anybody out because that's not the right thing to do. You know who you are, and you know you did a fantastic job. And I want you to know that I know you did a fantastic job and celebrate that. That is amazing that you took that fear and overcame that challenge and put yourself up for success to help others. That is amazing. Next is understanding, you for understanding. And I want to say this because you have been very patient with us and our team as we have been trying to struggle to figure out how to put this program together on the fly, and your patience and your flexibility. And I know there's been times where it's not been perfect. We've had to adapt and change, and you've all been professional and courteous and polite and respectful. And I really appreciate your understanding with us and your colleagues through this process. And last but not least is the D, in my opinion, stands for dedication. Not only your dedication to this cohort and to the program and as a whole, but your dedication to your jobs and dedication to public service. You know, we see in the media, all we see is the bad stories about corruption or ethics issues or whatever that some people are doing, the misgivings that happens, but we don't really celebrate that this is really a dedication and a call and a purpose. And this is something bigger than ourselves. And it's so obvious with the presentations last couple of days that you all are dedicated to this cause in your various roles, and that we're such a better community because of that. And so on behalf of our college, on behalf of our university, and on behalf of the residents that you serve, I want to say thank you for everything that you've done to help us get through this pandemic, but also be those unsung heroes day in and day out to make this happen. So I'm going to conclude those comments with that. I really appreciate the opportunity to work with you, get to know you all. I do consider you to be part of our family, and I hope that you stay in touch. Alexandra, is there any comments that you'd like to share before we head out the door?
No, I just wanted to say that it's been a pleasure working with you all. Thank you again for your patience and flexibility throughout this process and for sticking with us through all of these changes. We really appreciate it. I've learned a lot from all of you. So thank you for sharing your wisdom, advice, stories. I also think that it speaks volumes about the fact of how supportive you all have been and are, and we're today of each other. The comments and the insightful remarks for all of your presentations, again, I think has kind of showed everyone too who's just tuning in today how supportive you all have been of each other. So thank you for all you do. Thank you for serving our community. And we look forward to partnering with you again very soon.
Well, if that's, if there's anything else that folks would like to add, feel free to do that. Otherwise, I just want to say thanks again. It is officially 12:08. I hope that you get a chance to enjoy your lunch, enjoy your weekend, and we will be in touch with next steps as we look forward to the next phase of the program, which is to celebrate you and everything you've all done. Have a great afternoon. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye-bye.